Welcome back. This is Rivka Isaacs bringing you a Montessori moment. This is episode 3 in Bringing It Home. I've asked my granddaughter, Hannah Fradel, say hi.
Hi.
To help me demonstrate some of the activities that we have in practical life. Today, we're going to talk about giving children practical life skills. Montessori education focuses on giving your children practical life skills. But before we discuss the how-to, we are going to need to understand what these skills are. After all, what is practical life? For our purposes, we're going to define practical life as being useful, purposeful, and basic. For our purposes, we're going to describe life as the way of living. Now put those two together. A useful, purposeful, basic way of living. Now that we can sort of understand where we're going with practical life skills, now we can start to consider what will help us lead happy, fulfilled lives. Remember what we spoke about when we talked about being happy a few weeks ago? What skills does it take to get there? Success in life is directly correlated to the degree which people believe they are capable and their level of independence. Independence is the opposite of dependence, so it means that they don't need others for their basic functions. They can take care of themselves. How do we get to that state of self-confidence and independence? Maria Montessori focused on having young children practice those skills that are necessary until they no longer needed help and could act and do these daily common tasks completely and independently. For example, allowing a young child to pour from one container to another. Of course, in the beginning, we will use materials that are easier for a child to use. We'll also use light, small containers that a child can easily manage. In the beginning, a child will just start pouring sand from one cup to another. You model and reinforce. Remember what we've said about this in the past? Eventually, quicker than you expect to, the child gets the idea of pouring. You can reinforce as the child gains muscle and motor control. They can move to bigger, more challenging kinds of pouring. Using a spout, for example, or pouring from one large container into smaller ones. This is just one example of practical life. Allowing children to gain independence and self-discipline is the purpose of practical life activities in a Montessori classroom and at home. Practical life activities have the purpose of allowing students to gain independence and self-confidence, as well as developing an understanding of process, order, focus, and inner discipline. The child observes these activities in the environment and gains knowledge through the real experience of how to accomplish life tasks in a purposeful way. These activities are cultural and specific to the child's culture, time, and place. For example, what does cultural mean? When I lived on a U-shoot in a remote corner of Gush Etzion, I used to ride to Jerusalem in the mornings. It always amazed me. I would see along the road children, young shepherd children, some no older than 5 or 6, leading small flocks of sheep along the road. Now I understood. Through cultural expectation and modeling of older siblings, these young children were able to lead 5 or even 10 sheep on the side of a trafficked road. Practical life activities also give the child a sense of belonging, established through participation in daily activities with us. Through practical life, the child learns about his culture. Think about us. Think about when our young children help us. Your daughter who helps you bake challah, your son who helps you set the table for Shabbos. I believe the idea of practical life skills is what sets us apart in terms of our homes, in terms of our classrooms. The cornerstone of Montessori education is practical life. So let's go to the next level of understanding practical life. Practical life skills are important and can be broken down. They're important to be broken down so we understand the process. One of the first things you need to do when you're working with your children is understanding something called preliminary activities. Those are activities that are pre-activities. They help our children develop the skills that they need so that they can do other, more essential skills. There are a few more factors that are important to remember when you're doing practical life. One is that it's really reality-based. What does that mean? It means that it's real. Children know when something's real and when something's not real. I believe that in our classrooms, the children take achrayus, they take such responsibility for things because they know that it's real. There's a real goal, there's a real ending in what we're doing. There's a real result. It's not just fantasy-based. It's not just busy work to keep them busy. It's real. The activity they're doing is real. And they know that. They see their parents doing these activities. And children want to imitate their parents. Make sure that the activities are self-contained. That means that you set them up on a tray and that the tray is complete, meaning that you want them to have an area that they're working on. And in the area, it has everything they need, and it's a limited area. Make sure that the containers that you use and the materials that you use, the tools that you're using for the children are manageable for the children. Make them child size if you can. It makes it easier for them and makes them more successful. Make sure it's easy for them to clean so that they can be responsible for what they've done. And of course, it has to be safe. Thanks for joining me today. In summary, when we remember to present these activities with enthusiasm and break them down into sequential steps, the child will feel encouraged as he practices them independently. We must remember, adults work to finish a task, but a child works in order to grow and is working to create the adult that the person is meant to be. Maria Montessori. Thanks for being with us today. Please look at the last page. You can email or be in touch with us if you have questions or want to come visit our school. See you next week.